An intense manhunt is underway near Chicago after a police officer was shot during a traffic stop. Our CBS station in Chicago, WBBM, is reporting the officer is dead. Police are looking for 3 suspects they say should be considered armed and dangerous. According to sources who spoke with our CBS Chicago station, it started with a traffic stop in Fox Lake. That's about 50 miles northwest of the city. Now, at some point, pepper spray was deployed and the officer was shot. People in the area are being told to stay inside their homes and businesses, and local schools remain on lockdown. Police officers from at least half a dozen different agencies are involved in the search, including K-9 units and helicopters. Authorities in Fox Lake held a news conference just a short time ago. Listen.
This morning at approximately 7:52 in the morning, Fox Lake police officer indicated he was out with 3 suspicious subjects. This was in the area of Route 12 and Satan Road in Fox Lake. He described the subjects as 2 male whites and 1 male black. A short time thereafter, he radioed into communications that he was in a foot pursuit when communication was lost with the officer. His backup officer arrived on the scene and located him injured with a gunshot wound. There are 3 suspects at large at this time, again described 2 male whites, 1 male black, and I don't have a further description. At this point, this is a 2-pronged investigation. So we're looking into the apprehension of the 3 subjects at large. We're utilizing multiple resources for that. We have numerous canines on the ground checking for scents. We have numerous helicopters and aircrafts in the air. We have a large number of officers on foot conducting searches of the area. At this time, in connection with that, we're working the investigation of the officer who was injured. So the Major Crime Task Force, Lake County Major Crime Task Force, has been called in for that and is heading up that investigation. We'll have more information available as it progresses, possibly another press conference later this afternoon or this evening. At this time, we're asking all area residents to remain inside, report any suspicious activity, any suspicious people by dialing 911, as we still have 3 offenders at large.
Joining us now by phone is former ATF agent Matt Horace. Matt, thanks for joining us. Besides what we've just heard from that press conference there, what are some of the other things that authorities are doing in looking for these suspects?
Well, they need to determine whether they're on foot, whether they still have the same vehicle they had. They're going to use CCTV cameras, which are on most of the highway systems. They'll be checking the easy pass, toll lanes, and those sort of things. They'll get interviews done of anybody who may have been a passerby when it happened, and they're going to round this out and start this massive manhunt. Hopefully, these suspects will be in custody very soon.
And Matt, given that this appears, according to reports, have started with a traffic stop, pepper spray was deployed during that stop. What do you make of the fact that there are these 3 suspects and they are fleeing now? And right now, there are very few security cameras that are available to us to know exactly what happened. How far can these guys get away, or how far can they go?
Well, it's typical. As you know, traffic stops are very challenging and very difficult, and they can be very dangerous. There are so many unknowns about what police officers have to deal with when they walk up to a vehicle. And in this case, we do at least have a description of the suspects, we have a description of the vehicle, and we have the license tag of the vehicle. So hopefully that vehicle wasn't stolen, and we can sort of backtrack and figure out who belongs to the vehicle, who the vehicle belongs to, and help that lead our search.
Is it standard, and I know, Matt, that you worked at the federal level, but I know you have a lot of experience with local law enforcement as well. You know, the fact that we've seen a couple of incidences like this over the years, are police departments going to be thinking more about perhaps always having 2 officers in a cruiser, 2 officers at all time, rather than just 1?
No, I think that's something that is really dependent on the shift, the project that the police officers are using. In other words, what is the detail, what's the patrol segment that they're utilizing, and it depends on manpower. And in a lot of departments, vehicles are double up during the evening hours or night hours, and then on the day hours, they're single officers. So it just all depends. But I got to tell you, whenever there's a traffic stop, whenever an officer walks up to a vehicle, there are knowns and there are unknowns. And very frequently, the unknowns will come back to bite us in the long run.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Matt, given that we don't know exactly what happened. But if you're confronted, if you as a law enforcement officer you pull somebody over, there are 3 people in that vehicle, and for whatever reason, 1 or several of them are not being uncooperative, And I know this is going to sound strange, but because I know police officers are trained not to pull back. But if you see that situation and you know that you're outnumbered, does it make at all sense for an officer to say, you know what, I better step away from this situation, call for backup, and then take it from there? I know that generally speaking, law enforcement officers are never going to take a step back if they can press the issue forward.
Well, it's not a matter of whether we take a step back or not. What normally happens is as soon as we radio in that we're stopping a vehicle, and as soon as we say there's more than one person, help is generally on the way. There's generally an officer heading over to that direction right now. If you say there's 3 people in the vehicle and I'm stopping it on an isolated road, you best believe another officer or trooper is going to be on their way to help you out. So when we do work singularly or solo, help is always on the way when we identify potential problem. 3-on-1 is always a potential problem, even in a good situation.
And could this search be expanded if, for example, we go several hours into the day? Could we be talking about some federal law enforcement agents as well?
Oh, sure. I'm sure that the police department will enlist the support of the FBI, the ATF, the U.S. Marshal Service as need be, and as the manhunt ensues.
All right, Matt Horace, former ATF agent, we thank you very much for your time.
Have a great day.